Thanks, Nicole.
Yes.
Welcome to 60 Minutes to a Green Period. I'm Tara Bruley, founder of BePreparedPeriod.com, and with me today is the wonderful Nicole Jardim, women's health coach at the Healthy Elements. So I know you're there, Nicole. Hey.
I am here. Hey, everybody, welcome. We're so excited to be here with you today. We hope you find today's talk to be both fun and informative. And to help a little bit with the fun part, we'll be giving away some great eco-friendly feminine care products thanks to our friends at Maxim Hygiene. We'll be announcing the lucky winner at the end of today's webinar, so stay tuned.
All right, so before we get started, we'd like to let you know that we will be taking questions at the end of the webinar, so save your questions until then. But for now, we'd like to share just a little background about ourselves so you can better understand how it is we came to host such a unique event. As I said, my name is Tara, and I founded the online menstrual resource for girls, women, and parents, BePreparedPeriod.com. Being a mom of a tween, it all got brought about when I started looking for resources to help prepare my daughter for puberty. And a long story short, I didn't find what I was looking for and instead found large numbers of women looking for either personal help with their own periods or parents like me needing help with their daughters. Since Be Prepared Period's conception, it's developed into something way bigger and better than anything I ever first visualized, thanks to a lot of great people. Our mission has grown to include helping prepare all girls for puberty, empowering every woman to have a better period, and one example is through events like this, but to also break the silence on the taboo topic of menstruation and to facilitate open conversation, something that so many still shy away from. And I'm proud to say that Be Prepared Period's resources, they include informative articles and stories on periods and puberty, product reviews and giveaways, and online shopping offering the ultimate convenience. We all need a little bit more convenience in our lives, I think. We offer all the traditional household brands you're used to, along with one of the largest selections of organic and eco-friendly feminine care products, all in one place. Plus, you can subscribe and get your products automatically delivered to you however often you need them. And we also offer other online events, like our monthly tweet chats on Twitter. They feature new topics each month. For example, next month's tweet chat is geared to help prepare for summer, and appropriately titled, Be Prepared for Summer and Your Period. We're excited to have Nicole joining us for that event too. Nicole, would you like to share a little about your background and the resources you have available?
Yes, thank you. So as some of you may know, my journey began a long time ago with many of the issues that we're going to talk about today. I battled with a hormonal imbalance that began in my teenage years and then lasted into my mid-20s. It caused a lot of problems. My period was coming probably about 4 times a year when it was at its worst. And when it came with a vengeance. I had super heavy periods. It was constant cramping and bloating, and I feel like I gained and lost the same 15 pounds over and over again. Eventually, I'd had enough, and I went to my doctor, and she put me on the pill to quote unquote regulate my period. And while some of the symptoms went away that I'd been struggling with before, they were soon replaced with other issues like chronic yeast and urinary tract infections, a low sex drive, and the constant feeling that things were just not right. Eventually, I'd had enough after a couple of years, and so I took charge. At 24, around there, I ditched the pill and sought the advice of a naturopathic doctor who showed me a lot of new ways to live healthier and more in harmony with my body and my cycle. I also began to pay attention to the chemicals that were in my household. And this was, in fact, the catalyst for my current health journey. When I realized that a lot of the products I was using every day were affecting my health in a negative way, I pretty much cleaned house and never looked back. So this whole Earth Day thing is very personal for me. I soon realized that I needed to make a career change because I just loved talking about all of this health and wellness stuff. I like to call it my mid-20s crisis because suddenly I was no longer wanting to do what I had been doing for so long, and I needed to become a health and wellness educator. So I moved to New York City. I attended the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and then I apprenticed at a women's holistic health center. In 2010, I founded the Healthy Elements, and I created Fix Your Period. It's a series of private and group programs that empower women to heal their menstrual conditions in a sassy and fun way. Because this is really serious stuff, and I think we need to make it light and fun, right? So my programs bridge the gap between conventional thinking about women's health, which is typically drugs and surgery, and the other end of the spectrum, which can be very woo-woo and maybe a little out there for some people. My practice, yeah, right. My practice embodies that middle ground. So women can see there are much more effective ways to take care of themselves.
Thanks, Nicole. That is so awesome.
Thank you.
And now that you all know a little about who we are and why we're crazy enough to do a Green Your Period webinar, let's get started. Many may wonder why one might want to have a green period, or maybe you're just too intrigued by the title of this webinar and you had to check it out for yourself. Whatever the reason, we're glad you're here. Today, we're going to start by sharing a bit about Earth Day and the connection to women's health. We're going to talk about how chemicals in the environment, food, and beauty products are affecting women's health, the harmful effects of hormones in our food, how to reduce chemical exposure. You're also going to learn the effects traditional menstrual products are having on the environment and your health, solutions to many menstrual product complaints like irritation, vaginal dryness, TSS concerns, and our favorite eco-friendly, body-friendly, period-friendly products that will greatly improve your monthly experience, and of course more.
Exciting.
So let's talk about that. How is Earth Day connected to women's health? By definition, Earth Day is a time to demonstrate support for environmental protection. But as individuals, our cause for concern on this subject can vary. On a broader scale, concern can be found on the future of our planet's health. With excess waste, pollution, global warming. But as health issues rise, more are feeling the effects of life's choices on the environment and their health. But we're going to take it one step further and show you how these choices are actually affecting your menstrual health. Our experience tells us that simply telling people about better options or choices isn't enough. For it to really sink in, we all need to understand why the choices we make affect us the way they do. Nicole, do you want to share these?
Yes, definitely. So here's some food for thought, ladies. For our first statistic here, 40% more women in 2002 than in 1982 have reported difficulty in conceiving and maintaining a pregnancy. These difficulties have almost doubled in younger women ages 18 to 25. That's pretty frightening. The second statistic we have here is that flame retardants, such as polybrominated biphenyls, have been linked to estrogen disruption and a higher rate of abnormal pap smears. Another really frightening bit of information. The third one is the birth defect resulting in undescended testes increased 200% between 1970 and 1993. So I'll explain that a little bit. Many chemicals in our environment have an estrogenic or feminizing effect on mammals, including humans. This actually interferes with the male sex hormone testosterone in male fetuses, and that changes the way their genitals develop. So again, it's not only about us living on this planet, it's about our unborn children as well. Our fourth statistic is that all 62,000 chemicals formulated prior to the enactment of the Toxic Substances Control Act in 1976 were actually grandfathered in for use with no requirement that they be tested or shown to be safe. So again, we're surrounded by so many of these chemicals and nobody really knows. We're essentially all guinea pigs in this big experiment. So,
that is crazy.
yeah.
And a few statistics on the impact our period products are having on the earth. About 90% of the materials used to make traditional pads and liners are plastic, polluting our environment forever. 70 million menstruating women in North America will use approximately 17,000 disposable pads or tampons each in their lifetime. Approximately 20 billion pads, tampons, and applicators are sent to North American landfills each year. But hundreds of thousands never make it to the landfills, ending up in our coastal areas, which is super yuck. So how about those scary statistics for a wake-up call? But we don't want let going green to overwhelm you. There are many steps that can be taken to improve your health and the health of our planet, and they don't have to all be done at once. Nicole, do you want to start us out by talking about a few of the areas of our lives we should be more in tune to?
Most definitely. Let's get this started.
Yay!
So I know, finally. All right. So as you all know, I do this fixing your period thing, and I'm going to talk all about your menstrual health today. So as you can see from those statistics we just mentioned, chemicals are having a pretty detrimental effect on humans. While they affect men greatly, the effect is actually much more apparent in women because of our delicate endocrine systems. So let's talk about the three main ways we're exposed on a daily basis. So let's first talk about chemicals and hormones in food. So some of you may know that there are a ton of hormones and chemicals that are found in our food supply today, especially from animal products that come from a factory farm environment and food that is grown conventionally using pesticides. The second one I want to talk about is chemicals in beauty products and personal care products. Do you know that the average woman is exposed to approximately 515 chemicals before she has even left her house every morning? I still can't get over that crazy statistic, but it's
No
true.
way.
I know. And then the third topic I want to talk about is chemicals in everyday products, household products. So there's actually a lot lurking in your household that you might not be aware of. There are chemicals in our furniture and our mattresses and many other places in our houses that might be causing us harm. And if you combine all of these environmental stressors, you're going to have big menstrual problems. Well, not necessarily, but for a lot of women, you will. So this is because, like I said before, we live in an estrogenic or feminizing environment. Many studies are now showing that xenoestrogens, which are endocrine disrupting chemicals that mimic estrogen, they cause high estrogen in both women and men. In women, the estrogenic environment may lead to an epidemic of female conditions, and these are all traceable to excess estrogen and deficient progesterone. I'll get to more of that in a minute. In men, it may result in declining quality of sperm, and this can be traced back to excess estrogen and deficient testosterone. While we can't necessarily control what's in the environment around us, we can control what we're exposed to in our homes. It's critical to limit your exposure to xenoestrogens whenever possible in an effort to reduce their effect on you and address any hormonal imbalances you might be dealing with, especially if it is a hormonal imbalance of excess estrogen, which I'm going to elaborate on in a moment. So let's start with the chemicals and hormones that are found in food. This is pretty common and relatively well known, so I won't dwell too much on it. But if you do have any questions, by all means, write them into the chat box, and we'll address them all at the end of the webinar. So the key culprits are pesticides, all of them, and hormones in food. One hormone in particular is recombinant bovine growth hormone. This is known as RBGH. The pesticides, again, there's a myriad amount of pesticides, so I can't obviously list them all off. But the ones that I'm focusing on are the sex hormone disrupting pesticides. They also affect our thyroid. They disrupt our thyroid hormones. So those kinds of pesticides are what I want to talk about today. So if a mammal is exposed to sex disrupting pesticides in the womb, say, the sort of effects that may be evident include effects on sexual behavior, structural deformities of the reproductive tract, including intersex type conditions, and undescended testes, which I mentioned earlier, deficits in sperm counts, and even effects on sex ratios. So there are actually cities and even countries where sex ratios are shifting. There are more girls now being born than boys, and it's because of this estrogenic environment that we find ourselves in. The hormones, in particular RBGH, which I just mentioned, RBGH is a bioengineered hormone that forces cows to produce more milk than their bodies normally would. Injection of this hormone boosts milk production by only about 10%, but it increases the incidence of mastitis, lameness, and reproductive complications for many of these animals. Antibiotics are used over and over to treat the mastitis. So, of course, the milk from these cows not only contains genetically modified RBGH, but a great deal of antibiotic residues. It's not pretty. Studies on its effects on humans are inconclusive, or at least they say they are, but I would say that the science is in. And I just, again, it comes back to using your best judgment. Puberty is starting in alarmingly young ages in the US now, and I just don't think this is a coincidence. And in addition to that, countries like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Japan, and all the countries in the European Union have banned RBGH because of its impacts on humans and on animals. So again, I think that the science is in, and it's one of those things where we need to use our best judgment. So how would you reduce exposure? So you want to eat organic whenever possible. Always try and buy organic dairy, meat, fish, and produce whenever you can. It might not be possible to get all organic produce all the time. I totally understand that. It isn't even for me, and I live in a pretty accessible area. So here is a list of the most contaminated produce and the ones that you should buy organic whenever you possibly can. As you can see here, these are called the Dirty Dozen, and will, you'll be able to see it once you get the replay as well. But it starts with things like apples and celery. Those for some reason have the most pesticides in them. So any of these foods, if you can get them organic, that would be really great for you. Much better for you, at least in reducing your exposure. So in addition to that, other ways to reduce your exposure, you want to focus on getting animal products in like organic animal products that are sustainably raised. So any kind of meat products that you would buy. Try and avoid any products that are raised in a factory farm and environment. The only way you really know that is by looking at labels. So, and the labels are only going to show organic, sustainably raised, all these kinds of things. So that's what you have to look for. You have to become more of a critical consumer. The thing is with factory farm raised animals is that when you have a diet high in that kind of meat, it actually is likely to cause estrogen overload. And there are a couple of reasons why, but two in particular are that the hormones in these animals are causing us to have an estrogen imbalance. And they use a lot of antibiotics, which can throw off the natural flora in your gut, and that can mess with your hormones as well. So again, it's a lot more complicated than that, and it's hard to go into it into detail. But that's essentially why you want to reduce your exposure to meat that's raised in a factory farm environment. Look for brands that are specifically saying things like farm raised, grass fed, and then look for third party verifications on the label. Or even better, you can buy your meat products at a farmer's market if you have that available to you. If you consume dairy, I recommend being cautious with it, especially conventional dairy. Consume only organic dairy, preferably from a local source like a nearby farm if that's available. And make sure that you look for dairy products that do not use RBGH or any other unnecessary hormones or antibiotics. For fish, you want to consume wild caught fish if that is possible. Again, it's not possible for everybody. Look for it on the labels. Look for sustainably caught fish. Again, it is Earth Day, and over 90% of the fish population on the planet has been depleted. So it seems that we're going to run out soon. So again, it's something to consider when you're looking for sustainably caught fish. In addition to that, if that's not available, you can maybe look for farm-raised organic fish. That's also an option. Farm-raised regular fish is not such a great option. Okay, so that's pretty much how you reduce your exposure in animal products. Now I want to talk a little bit about chemicals in beauty and personal care products. This is a big one for the ladies, so stay tuned. Some of the key culprits in beauty products, personal care products are parabens. Parabens are they're used as a preservative, and they're also used as an antibacterial agent. They're found in many cosmetics and personal care products. Phthalates, these are another one that are really detrimental. They are ingredients in many perfumes and fragrances. If you see the word fragrance listed in the ingredients, the product more than likely contains phthalates. Triclosan is an antibacterial agent and preservative found in antibacterial hand and body soap. It's found in mouthwashes and cleaning supplies. So these three are the big ones for me. There are a lot of them, but these were three of the big ones I wanted to talk about. So they have a number of effects on our bodies. Studies have found parabens in breast tumors, and they may alter hormone levels, possibly increasing risk for certain cancers, impairing fertility, and altering the development of a fetus or young child. This is scary. And then phthalates are especially detrimental to the reproductive system. Phthalates have been found to block estradiol production in the ovaries, which can cause anovulation or a lack of ovulation. Estradiol is the main form of estrogen found in women's bodies pre-menopause, prior to menopause. So again, this can be especially detrimental if we're not ovulating, we're unable to get pregnant. So again, this can be a huge problem for many women. It can also lead to estrogen dominance, which I'll talk about more in a little while when I touch on that. In addition to that, phthalates have also been found to alter levels of free testosterone, affecting sex drive in women and men. That's no good. So triclosan is the third one, and like I was saying, it's used in hand soaps. All those antibacterial hand soaps, ditch those things because they've got triclosan in them. It's a probable endocrine disruptor and a carcinogen, and can easily accumulate to dangerous levels in our bodies. Animal studies have shown reproductive and other broad systemic effects. So again, get rid of that 99.9% antibacterial soap. It's no good. And then how to reduce exposure. So the first thing is go to the Environmental Working Group's Skin Deep database website. If you just Google that, you will find it. It'll come up immediately. You will get the information that you need to know on all the personal care products and cosmetics that you use. They use a rating system on a 1 to 10 scale, with least to most contaminated. So once you type in the name of your product, you'll see it on a scale. You'll know the ingredients that are in it and what those ingredients can do to you. And once you know where your products stand, you can decide whether you want to keep them or throw them away and replace them with better products. Be a critical consumer. This is the really important thing. Start reading labels on all the personal care and cosmetic products you purchase. The website above, again, like I said, the Skin Deep database will give you detailed info on thousands of ingredients. So again, it's just better to be an informed, critical consumer. And make progressive change. Start by replacing products that you use on the largest parts of your body and most often. The best way to do this is to try replacing body lotion, shampoo and conditioner, and deodorant. I think those are great products to start with. And my fourth option is to just use fewer products. I think a lot of us use too many products sometimes. At least I do. Or even make your own products. It's really, really easy. You can go to safecosmetics.org, and they have a lot of really cool ideas on products you can make yourself. And you can even buy books. There's tons of information out there.
And Pinterest is a great idea for do-it-yourself projects like
Oh
that.
yeah, that's true. I forgot about Pinterest. Yes, love
Love
Pinterest.
Pinterest.
Okay, so that's pretty much sums up chemicals in your personal care and beauty products. Like I said, there are so many more, but we're on a time crunch right here. So now I want to talk a little bit about chemicals in everyday products in your household. So the key culprits are BPA. BPA has been in the news a lot in the last couple of years. And as you may know, it's a chemical used to make hard plastics. It's found in water bottles, plastic products, and in the lining of food cans. The second one is flame retardants, polybrominated diphenyl ethers, or PBDE, and tetrabromobisphenol A, TBBPA. I know, such a mouthful. It's kind of ridiculous. If you can't pronounce it, you shouldn't have it anywhere near you. They make up the majority of flame retardants that are used today, and they're found in furniture, mattresses, your kids' mattresses, any kind of plastic, paint, anything that might catch on fire that would go in a household. There's more than likely been some sort of flame retardant added to that product. The third one is perfluorinated chemicals, or PFOA. These are chemicals used to manufacture non-stick finishes, things like non-stick finishes on your pans and your pots, and then stain repellent clothing. So again, these three are major players, and I really wanted to talk about them because they are super duper endocrine disrupting chemicals. Let's start with BPA. So bisphenol A, like I said. Recently, the Environmental Working Group published a study showing that BPA leaked from more than half of the canned foods that are purchased in grocery stores in the US. It's also been found in 93% of Americans older than 6 years of age, which is pretty much all of us. Research shows also that high BPA levels disrupt production of estradiol in the ovaries, again, another disruptor of estrogen production. And this can ultimately interfere with our menstrual cycle and interfere with our ability to reproduce. In addition to that, it's also been associated with sperm anomalies, which again, so not only is it affecting women's ability to reproduce, it's affecting men's ability to reproduce. It can cause, or it's been associated with diabetes, with cardiovascular disease, and elevated liver enzymes. Flame retardants, they're really interesting. They have a similar structure to thyroid hormones. So that means they can disrupt your thyroid hormone balance. They can also alter testosterone and estrogen signaling and accumulate in organ tissues over time. Levels of flame retardants are higher, they're 10 to 20 times higher in breast milk of American women than they are of European women. So again, we're exposed to a lot of these things that a lot of people aren't exposed to in other countries, which is really unfortunate. Perfluorinated chemicals, again, like I was talking about PFOA, they're strongly associated with reduced thyroid hormone function. So if you don't know this, severe thyroid deficiencies in children can lead to brain damage, low IQ, ADHD, and even autism. In adults, thyroid disorders can lead to weight gain and memory problems and constant feeling of brain fog, dry skin and hair and nails, and a host of other issues. It's estimated that 60 million Americans struggle with some kind of thyroid problem, and most of them are women. I do not think this is a coincidence at all. Again, women are much more likely to struggle with these conditions just because we have a lot more hormones at play than men do. But I don't think that there is a coincidence between the fact that so many of us struggle with these issues and there is such a major amount of chemicals in our environment. So how would you reduce exposure? So the first thing is I want you to think about ways to reduce your exposure. There's many ways. One of the simplest things to do is to keep as many of these harmful chemicals as possible out of your house and make easy substitutions for common household pollutants. There are many eco-friendly products in the market. You can check them out when you next go shopping or just go online. I mean, there's so many resources. Use containers like glass, steel, and ceramic whenever possible. Don't heat things or store things in plastic or styrofoam containers. In fact, I think you should avoid styrofoam completely. That stuff is lethal. Switch to wooden or metal utensils instead of plastic, and limit your consumption of bottled water. I know you hear that all the time, but seriously, like as you can see, BPA has a tremendous effect on your endocrine system. So again, limiting bottled water is key. And of course, limit foods that come in any kind of plastic containers. Also look for BPA-free canned foods or phase out canned food altogether. You can make your own beans and soups pretty easily and not have to buy canned food at all. And there are also canned foods now that are BPA free. So just look out for those. I feel like there are a lot of them in the grocery store these days. The fourth suggestion I have is buy nonstick pots and pans that are eco-friendly or green. There are many of them. You can find them on Amazon, and a number of stores have started carrying them. So that's another option. So that pretty much sums up the three types of, or the three different areas of chemicals that I wanted to talk about. Now I want to talk a little bit about estrogen dominance and what that is, what that means for both women and for men. I mentioned that many of these chemicals are xenoestrogens, which means that they mimic estrogen in our bodies and have an estrogen-like reaction in our bodies, basically. Too much estrogen in our body leads to a condition called estrogen dominance, obviously. Estrogen, if you don't know, is actually a stimulating hormone. So that means it stimulates our uterine lining to grow, and it stimulates the ovaries to produce an egg every month. And it grows breasts for girls who are going through puberty. So it needs to stay balanced with another hormone, progesterone, in order for it to function properly. And if it becomes dominant, then it can cause a number of issues in women and men too. Man boobs, those are caused by too much estrogen, unfortunately, for the guys. Anyways, symptoms of estrogen dominance, there are a number of them, as you can see here. If you are struggling with any of these kinds of issues, I'd love for you to type into the chat box and tell me what you're dealing with right now, any of these conditions or symptoms. And if you knew whether estrogen dominance was likely a cause, if you've ever heard of it before, that kind of thing. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I'll read through them at the end of the webinar. So as I mentioned, estrogen is, it can become dominant, and when it does, it can actually irritate our nervous system. Progesterone actually calms us down. It's almost like a natural Valium. So when the ratio of estrogen to progesterone gets too high, what happens is we tend to suffer from things like anxiety and depression and emotional PMS symptoms. I'm sure many of you can relate to the week before your period and what that's like. I've lived through that, and I've met many women who deal with it, and it really sucks. So that could be caused by having too much estrogen in our systems. Endometriosis and fibroids, those are two conditions that are really serious, and they are affecting more and more women today. It's amazing. But they are caused by estrogen dominance. And the reason for that is because our uterine linings are being overstimulated by all that estrogen that's flowing through our system, and it's not being stopped or balanced out by progesterone. And so what happens is our linings just continue to grow and grow, and then we start to have things like fibroids and endometriosis issues. Xenoestrogens are stored in our fat tissues for decades, which is really unfortunate. And a big concentration of fat is in our breast tissues. Lengthened exposure to estrogen will create a significant risk for breast cancer. And in addition, conditions like sore breasts, fibrocystic breasts are caused by having too much estrogen in our systems, especially if you feel that around the time of your period beginning. It's more than likely caused by excess estrogen. So what can you do to address this problem? I know there's been a lot of gloom and doom. I'm sure I've totally depressed you over the last 20 minutes that I've been talking. But like I said, I've already explained a lot of ways that you can limit your exposure to the insidious chemicals that are found in food and everyday products. And if you're struggling with one or more of the symptoms of estrogen dominance that I just described, here is what you can do. So you can start by increasing your consumption of nutrient-dense foods. So this includes things like leafy green vegetables, kale, collard greens, spinach. Anything that you can fan yourself with is a leafy green. And estrogen dominance has actually been linked to certain nutritional deficiencies like low magnesium, zinc, vitamin B9, which is folate, and vitamin B12. Lucky for us, leafy greens are packed with almost every vitamin and mineral needed to maintain healthy reproductive function. So all of those minerals and vitamins and then some. So including them in 1 or 2 meals a day is a great way to boost your nutritional quotient, basically. The second thing I recommend is limiting alcohol. I know this is kind of sad for some people, especially if you love your glass of wine at the end of the day. And the reason I say that is because consumption of alcohol has been proven to raise estrogen levels, and it slows down our fat burning potential, which are two no-nos. In one study, just 2 servings of alcohol per day raised estrogen levels by 22% within a period of just 4 weeks. So something to keep in mind if this is an issue that you're struggling with. Increase your fiber, ladies. I know that we hear that all the time, and I'm sure I sound like your mother or something, but we need to have at least 35 grams of fiber a day. That's not that much, but for the standard American diet, it probably is, because most women are only consuming about 13 grams a day. So it's a proven fact that eating more fiber will lower your estrogen. And the reason for this is because estrogen is processed and broken down, metabolized by your liver. And what happens is your liver sends it to your colon so that it can be removed for good. The problem is that if we're constipated and our bowels are not moving on a regular basis, the estrogen is going to be reabsorbed into our bloodstream and then recirculated. So with estrogen, you just got to use it and then lose it. So that's pretty much it for estrogen. Yeah, get it out. The last thing I want to mention is increasing your intake of cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts. They contain a high amount of the phytochemical called indole-3-carbinol, also known as I3C. I3C breaks down into something called DIM. It actually has a long name, but I can never pronounce it properly, so I'm just going to say DIM. It's D-I-M like Mary. And DIM has been shown to increase estrogen metabolism and reduce estrogen levels in the body. It also decreases estrogen's ability to bind to breast tissue, which will significantly reduce any kind of cyclical breast pain and swelling that you deal with. And of course, ultimately reduce breast cancer or the risk for breast cancer. And also I wanted to mention a supplement of DIM. If you're dealing with severe estrogen dominance, I definitely suggest supplementing with it. I recommend 200 milligrams a day of DIM. And the brand I really like is BioResponse Nutrients. Again, I will put this into the email that we send out with all of our follow-up information. But I think that that would be a great recommendation for anyone who's dealing with severe symptoms of estrogen dominance. So that's pretty much it for what I wanted to share with you. Tara is going to take over now, and then I will be back with you a little later in the webinar.
Thanks, Nicole. All that information is great. There's so much to know. I know that it can be overwhelming at times, and as Nicole said, there's so much to cover, but unfortunately there's only 60 minutes in this webinar. So really our goal here today is to give you bite-sized pieces of information so that you can feel good about getting started. So anything that you can do, little steps, it's amazing how the little things make really big differences.
Yeah.
So for now, I'd like to go over the part of the menstrual cycle everyone thinks of when they hear the words menstrual cycle, which typically isn't, the full month-long cycle that your body goes through to get ready. It's your period. That's what they think of when you think of menstrual cycle. And because this is an Earth Day event, I'd like to touch again on the impact our periods and the menstrual products we're using are having on the environment. Then we'll move on to some of the specific effects that they're having on us personally. So let's start by taking a look at this nasty landfill and think about all the items that we toss out that end up there. Many things to think about when we're thinking of going green. Do you think of a car with better gas mileage? Do you choose paper or plastic grocery bags? Water bottles, reusable or disposable? I think Nicole just made a really great case for definitely reusable. But not many think of menstrual product waste and the environment. So we'd like to do a little pop quiz and see, well, I guess I just flipped up the slide too quick. I was going to ask you all how many disposable products does a woman typically go through in a lifetime? And the answer is 17,000. It is a huge amount.
Wow.
And then here are some other facts, again, just to remind you of the effects that they're having. It's pretty gross. You think about all of the products that end up in landfills. And speaking of yuck, I want to go over the chemicals and the materials used in traditional conventional pads and tampons. So let's talk about each one of those real quick. Bleached wood pulp. The purpose of bleaching is to disinfect and to whiten the color of these materials. Unfortunately, most are bleached with harsh and environment-damaging chemicals called chlorines, and they produce toxic chemicals in the environment called dioxin. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute after we go over some more of the items that you can find in products. Synthetic materials, usually advertised as being cotton-like. They're man-made materials like viscose, rayon, polypropylene, and plastic. And speaking of plastic, do you ever feel like we are living in a plastic world?
Oh, yeah.
I know I was shocked to hear how much plastic goes into our menstrual products, over 90%. So plastic made from crude oil is a limited and polluting energy source. Damaging and polluting chemicals are used to make this indestructible product that's going to remain in our environment, visually polluting and damaging wildlife for hundreds of years. And then we've got bleach. What makes bleach really bad is the byproduct that it produces, dioxin. Dioxin is a residue of the chlorine bleaching process. Dioxin is classified as a carcinogenic, which means it has the potential to cause cancer. And this residue can stay within the fibers, those same fibers that you're putting in or next to your body, and leading to prolonged exposure to this toxic substance. The dioxin settles in the fat cells of our bodies, and it stays there for the rest of our lives, building up over time. So increased exposure means increased risk. Dioxins are listed as some of the most deadly chemicals created. It's listed by the EPA as the most toxic of all cancer-linked chemicals. Dioxin can be found in pesticides, plastics, detergents, and cosmetics. And concerns have been raised about their impact on our health with respect to hormonal disruption, like Nicole mentioned, cancer, and heart and liver disease for more than a decade.
Unbelievable.
For most of us, it is. It's
Yeah.
crazy to think about the products that we've been using for so long and
the
the
fact
effects
that they're all
really
still
having.
legal.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
So for most of us, conventional products are the only products we're aware of as options for managing our periods. But knowing the facts of what's going into making these products and how their effects is increasingly important. Speaking of effects, effects of using traditional pads and tampons can be felt on the environment and on our bodies. Globally, we face issues of waste, the large amounts of toxic pollution into the environment in manufacturing, and devastating damage to wildlife, marine life, and landscape. Personally, we're feeling these effects on our health with allergic reactions, irritation, infections, and discomfort. Oops, sorry about that, guys. If you
Whoops.
suffer from rashes, itchiness, irritation, or yeast infection, this could be caused by the materials being used in your products. And while we're talking about the effects on our personal health by these products, I'd like to share a bit more on a very real danger, which is TSS, or toxic shock syndrome, for those who use or might consider using tampons. Who all has heard of TSS? Maybe you've read the pamphlet that was in your box of tampons, or maybe not. Maybe you've heard that TSS was a concern back in the 80s, or that it's so rare you don't have to worry about it. Both of those statements are untrue. TSS cases are still presenting even today and are really more common than anyone thinks. 1 in 700 women will get tampon-related TSS in their lifetime, with younger girls being at a higher risk because they haven't had the chance to develop the immunities needed. I'm a mom of a preteen, and I think that risk is way too high. You know, when I think of my daughter using menstrual products, that risk is unacceptable. Up until recently, though, I was a tampon user pretty much my whole menstrual life, so I can't really tell people never ever wear tampons. But being aware of the myths and the realities, as well as the symptoms of TSS and what you should do if you think you have it, are going to help keep you safe. One of the biggest myths is you can only get TSS from wearing tampons for prolonged use. The reality is toxins can develop in just a couple hours. And another myth is all tampons carry equal risk. And do you remember the man-made material, viscose rayon, that we discussed earlier? Well, research done on TSS has found that viscose rayon is now solely responsible for the tampon-related TSS. So let's go ahead and add that to the list of effects for synthetic materials. So how do you know if you have toxic shock syndrome? And that's a great question, but scary in itself. The reason is many of the symptoms resemble flu-like symptoms, making women believe they just have a bug. These symptoms vary from sore throat to a high fever, as you can see. You can reduce your risk several ways. Being aware is a big one. Another way to reduce your risk is to use tampons made with only organic cotton. There is good news for tampon lovers. There has never been a case of TSS associated with the 100% organic cotton products. 2 is to use the lowest absorbency needed for each stage of your period. Don't use a super when you can use a light just because you can wear it longer. 3, don't wear tampons overnight. You should always avoid using tampons continuously during your period. Alternating with pads at night allows the toxins that have built up time to dissipate. And of course, change them often, every 4 to 6 hours. If you feel you might have TSS, you should remove the tampon as soon as possible, save it if possible, and seek immediate medical attention. Make sure to inform your doctor of your tampon use and take TSS information with you. We have more information about toxic shock syndrome on our site, but you can also check out the wonderful nonprofit organization You Are Loved. This organization was started when the founder's 20-year-old daughter Amy died of TSS when she thought she had the flu. They share a lot of stories from families who've lost loved ones and those who've survived but continue to suffer from the various symptoms. Working with this organization and reading the many, many stories they share has had a huge impact on me personally. I really encourage each of you to really be aware of these dangers and share the information with your loved ones. It really could save a life. So even if you don't use tampons and you know people that do, this information is great to pass on. So now that, like Nicole said, we've gone over all the doom and gloom, I'd like to discuss the silver lining, which is today's current options for a greener, healthier period. Eco-friendly options for products are popping up everywhere. There's organic soap, there's makeup, clothes, tons of organic stuff. So why do you suppose menstrual products aren't high on the list when women think of green or eco-friendly? Or are they for you? How many of you have actually paused for a moment to think about how many products you go through each month, or each year, or in a lifetime? How many have thought about what this combined waste is contributing to our landfills? How it's affecting your health on a monthly basis? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the chat box, so if you guys want to take a second to just type in your answers to any of these, that would be great. A lot of us are still unaware there are options other than the household names making the tampons and pads we've used for years and years. But I think for many, women struggle enough as it is just dealing with their periods. Thoughts of finding a way to get out of bed when you've got killer cramps, or dealing with worries of leaking like a water faucet on full blast when you stand up. Those issues are a little bit more pressing.
Oh, yeah.
So, many of us are just worried about surviving that day or the week. So adding concerns for the environment to the mix is kind of unthinkable when it's already such a struggle each month. So if this sounds like you, don't fret. We're going to show you some options for being eco-friendly and having a better period. Organic and eco-friendly products can help relieve period issues like the constant worry of leaks, allergic reactions causing the itchy or raw feeling, vaginal dryness, concerns about TSS, tampons causing more cramps or increased flow, they're being uncomfortable to wear, pain inserting or removing. And the first category of eco-friendly products we'd like to introduce you to are organic or natural disposable pads and tampons. Brands like Maxim Hygiene and Natracare offer some great products. Some of their benefits include they're great for those with sensitive skin, they're safer, chemical-free, synthetic-free, and environmentally friendly. And I'm going to touch on each one just real quickly. Organic products are gynecologist recommended as a hypoallergenic and irritation-free option for those with sensitive skin. Another benefit, they're safer, and just a reminder that these products have no reported cases of TSS, making them a safer tampon option. Benefit number 3, they're chemical-free. I don't know about you, but the thought of putting chlorine, pesticides, fertilizers, and fungicides, now that we know all the great effects from Nicole, next to my lady parts is absolutely disturbing. You're not going to find these commonly used chemicals in the organic options. Chemical-free and synthetic-free, they're made from all natural materials, which is why they're safer, more breathable, and non-irritable. And so relative to today's Earth Day celebration, they're environmentally friendly. Organic and naturally made products are designed to compost quickly and safely. And as an Earth Day reminder for those of you that do choose disposable products, we'd like to just make mention of a few rules for proper disposal of your disposable pads and tampons. These are especially good reminders as we teach young girls about feminine hygiene. So never ever flush sanitary products, including tampons and applicators, down the toilet. Always wrap up soiled feminine care products. Used sanitary items should never be left lying on the floor, which is a problem a lot of schools are having. Remember, no one else should have to view, smell, or handle your discarded products. Discard wrapped sanitary pads and tampons in a trash that is out of the reach of pets and small children. Immediately wash your hands after discarding sanitary products and using the bathroom. So we're going to make the switch from disposable to reusable, and that brings up menstrual cup options. If you have never heard of menstrual cups, they may require a bit more of an open mind, but I promise they're definitely an option worth considering. Women everywhere have been raving about the difference they have made in dealing with their periods. So, what is a menstrual cup? A menstrual cup is a flexible cup worn internally, like a tampon, but rather than absorbing menstrual fluid and all the other natural moisture, like tampons, it collects it. There are 2 types of options. One is a bell-shaped cup. The picture here shows one of the ways it can be folded for insertion. When inserted, it forms a suction seal once inside the vagina. This style of cup is reusable and can last 5 to 10 years depending on how well it's cared for. Ranging from $35 to $40, it doesn't take long for it to start paying for itself. And then the other style of cup is the soft cup. It looks similar to a diaphragm. It pinches closed to insert, fitting in the natural space under the cervix and behind the pubic bone to conform to your body. This cup offers 2 options though. One is a disposable option where each cup can be worn for up to 12 hours and then discarded, or the reusable option that you wear 1 cup for your entire cycle and then you throw it away. Another unique feature of the soft cup is that it can be worn during sex. The disposable option costs around $8 for a box of 14 soft cups, while the reusable option is about $5 for a box of 2. So since a box of 2 is going to last you 2 months or 2 cycles, it makes each period extremely affordable. Each style of cup offers great features. One requires a bigger investment in the beginning, but larger savings in the long run, while the other one is more affordable up front. And there are tons of benefits to menstrual cups. They include no risk, of TSS. They're more eco-friendly. They're comfortable to wear. They don't cause vaginal dryness like tampons. They can be conveniently worn up to 12 hours, even overnight. They hold more than a super tampon, but they work for light or heavy flow, reducing your need to purchase a variety of products, which is going to save you valuable space in your cabinet. So there's no need to buy out, the light, the regular, the super, the ultra for all the stages of your period. One product can really fix you for light or heavy flow, which is fantastic. And they can reduce your cramps or flow, and they can drastically reduce the amount of money you spend on menstrual supplies. Some of the reviews we've shared at Be Prepared, period, about menstrual cups include statements from ladies like Michelle. Michelle says, I won't lie, I did feel a little nervous before trying my Diva cup and had a hard time getting past the idea that I was going to be inserting what seemed like a big object in my body. So I buckled up and went for it, and this is what I have to say. It's amazing! How could I have gone without it for so long? I will never ever buy tampons or pads again. It's so comfortable I don't even feel it. I don't have to change it every couple of hours like a tampon. No spills, even throughout the night. I feel much better knowing that I'm dealing with my period in a safer, more natural way. Buying a box of tampons and pads every month can get expensive. You can easily spend up to $200 a year on them. This won't be the case with my Diva cup, and I'll be saving a lot of money from now on. And yes, it's eco-friendly. And Heather says, I don't really remember where I first heard about menstrual cups, but I swore that I'd never get that crunchy, or eco-friendly for those of you new to the term. I started looking for even more ways to save money, and I heard for the first time that menstrual cups were not a TSS risk. And after using her lunette, she said, I love being able to wear it all day long and not worry about leaks. It's better for the environment and my body. It saves money in the long run. It only takes a day or two to learn how to use. Overall, I'm very impressed and pleased with the cup. It is very comfortable, and I can't get over the fact that I had no leaks whatsoever while using it. Currently, I only have boys, but if I ever get my girl, I would definitely give her this as an option. So, like the idea of trying out one of these great reusables, well, I've got one more terrific product to tell you about, and that's cloth pads. Like their menstrual cup friend, cloth pads are another product becoming increasingly popular. Many moms are finding themselves easily making this transition as they choose to cloth diaper their babies, while those seeking to be more green love having a product that can replace their disposable pads. Cloth pads are pretty self-explanatory, but since many women aren't familiar with this option, I'm going to share just a few of the advantages to using these products. It's estimated that a single cloth pad can replace approximately 120 disposable pads or tampons. By choosing cloth, you're choosing a product made free of unwanted chemicals. Personal reasons causing women to make the switch can vary. Cost is one. Reusable products are significantly less than disposables, saving hundreds of dollars over time. Comfort is another. They are made from 100% cotton, soft, natural, and breathable materials, making them vastly superior to disposable products. Another great product that's great for those with sensitive skin. And we can't forget the cute designs up there. Cloth pads come in tons of different styles and patterns.
They're so cute. So pretty.
They are cute. It
Yeah.
makes periods a little bit more fun.
I think so.
Products use, the use and care is really pretty simple. You can expect cloth pads to last well over 5 years with the recommended use and care. To use, you simply wrap the pad around the gusset of your underwear and close the snap to secure. You can see it's got little wings, and those wings have snaps that just snap around. You can wash them by hand or machine in any temperature water with your regular detergent, so there's not a lot of extra care in washing them. Pre-soaking or rinsing in cold water prior to washing is recommended though. So as you start to think of ways to incorporate green into your life or your period, consider making the switch over to one of these great options. They could be the solution to, I'll just recap quickly, some of the solutions that they could be solving for you. Uncontrollable heavy flow, allergic reactions, irritation, increased cramps or flow, vaginal dryness, TSS concerns, your environmental footprint, chemical exposure, extra expenses, inconvenience, and discomfort. So what do you ladies think so far about what we've shared? Really, our goal today has been to share with you how some of the choices out there could be affecting not only the planet, but your health and your menstrual cycle. We hope you found some great takeaways. Nicole, do you want to take it from here?
Sure. Thanks, Tara, for sharing all of that. I'm always amazed at the things I learn from you. It's
My
awesome.
pleasure.
So, like Tara was just saying, we hope that we've given you enough information to really help improve your lives. Information isn't enough all the time. So, the thing is that you have to take a little bit of action. It could be setting up a simple goal or a set of goals. We'd like you to know we're here to support you 100% of the way. And to do that, we've created a few Earth Day specials just for you today. So, Tara, do you want to share what you prepared to help everyone get started on going green?
Of course. As I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, BePreparedPeriod.com is an online resource for girls, women, and parents on all things menstrual, which does include a convenient way to purchase your menstrual supplies. We have everything from the traditional products you're used to the healthier alternatives that I just discussed. To help get you started so you can see results in your next period, we created a special Green Your Period product pack for those viewing our webinar today. It includes an action guide to a better period, an action guide to a better period. This guide will give you simple steps that you can take now to get started. It includes access to Period Talk, which is our Q&A community built to discuss all things menstrual. This is a community built of peers, women like you, and menstrual experts. We've had a wide variety of questions asked so far that you can refer to. Questions from women preparing their daughters for puberty to specific questions about products and their use. It's a great place to go for answers, to contribute experiences, or check out what's already been posted. And a product package wouldn't be complete without products. Our Green Your Period product pack includes a $60 gift card to BePreparedPeriod.com where you can pick your preferred products, like that tongue twister. I said it okay.
Seriously, you did.
So you can slowly try out new products along with what you're used to, or you can use the gift card to purchase a product package like the examples that we have below. Package A offers a Lunette menstrual cup, Feel Better wash, and some Natracare organic panty liners, which is terrific for those wanting to try a cup. Package B offers a couple different styles of cloth pads along with a bottle of Ruby's Red Wash, which is a great little menstrual stain remover, perfect for underwear, sheets, or anything that else that might get stained. Summer's coming, swimsuits. And package C is just a reminder that the gift card can be used to purchase whatever you are most interested in trying. You can design your own custom package. And as an added bonus, we're also offering a group Q&A Fix Your Period session with Nicole. I can't say it enough. If you haven't already gathered for yourself, Nicole is a wealth of knowledge. Anytime you can spend with her to pick her brain is a huge value. This Green Your Period product pack has a retail value of over $130. So what makes this offer special today is, one, it's an exclusive offer for those viewing the webinar. This package is not available anywhere else. Two, we're not charging the retail price of $130. Today, we're offering it to you at a 50% savings of only $67. Three, if you take what you've learned today and you try out some of the reusable options, the savings are going to continue each month. So turning your period green isn't only healthier for you and the environment, it's healthier on your pocketbook. You'll get to enjoy the hundreds, if not thousands of dollars you will save on fun stuff instead of the necessities. But for those of you that are wanting a little bit more, we have you covered there too. Nicole, do you want to share the special offer you put together?
Yes, of course. Thanks for sharing yours. It's amazing. Ladies, if you want to try any kind of eco-friendly products, then Tara is your girl. She knows everything there is to know about every menstrual product on the planet. Seriously.
Oh, I'm still learning.
You've given me lots of good advice. So anyways, I want to say that our intention today, as Tara was saying, is that you're walking away from our webinar with really powerful tools that will make a difference in your lives. If all you did was implement some of these tools that we explained today, you'd see a difference. The steps that we've talked about are an amazing start to any journey to greening your life or your menstrual health. I want to acknowledge that wherever you are, I get it and I support you 100%. I know all of you or some of you are ready to take the journey to better, greener period health. And like I said, some of you will take these tools and run with them. But for many of you, this may be either overwhelming or maybe you've already heard much of this before. That's okay. We're not offended or anything. Just kidding. But for those of you who are wanting to to do something more and you're tired of trying everything under the sun with little or no results, or maybe feeling like you're done with walking this path alone, trying to figure out what to do and how to fix any kind of hormonal issues you may have, I'm speaking to you. I created a program especially for women who are in one of two places. You've either tried everything, things like medication, birth control, or maybe even surgery, and still your menstrual health is a mess, or you feel lost and don't know what to do or who to trust or even where to start. So if you identify with being in one of those two places or something along those lines, I want to share my Fix Your Period 4-week program with you. I created it so that it's easy for you to do. We meet once a week for 4 weeks via webinar, much like this one that we're on right now. And you can even be in your pajamas if you want. I'll provide amazing handouts with lots of thought-provoking information. You'll receive my Fix Your Period recipe ebook, and you'll have access to my private online Fix Your Period group. And each week I will introduce different practical steps and concepts that you can take to finally start addressing your underlying hormonal imbalance if that's something that you are indeed struggling with. I've also got incredible bonuses. I've got 4 of them. I've got a 4-part meditation series that is called Pleasurable Periods. It's actually created specifically for a woman's menstrual cycle, so it's amazing. My exclusive Fix Your Period reading list contains all the books and resources that I've used over the years to help heal my own period problems. And I also have 2 other bonuses that will help you love your body and your cycle. I promise it is possible. In addition to all of that, you will get a private 75-minute session with me to discuss your health and wellness goals. We're going to dig deep and get clear on what it is you need to be doing to address your specific hormonal imbalance or your specific issues. And then you can do this session before, during, or after the program. It's entirely up to you. So the value for all of this is $525. But today I have a special for you, obviously, and I'm offering the entire program and the bonuses as well as the private 75-minute session with me for just $349. So that's $175 in savings, and it's actually the biggest one I've ever offered before. So if if this is something that's interesting to you, then you can see the link at the bottom there. Again, I just want to say that I designed this program on the belief that fixing your period or fixing any kind of hormonal issues or menstrual issues doesn't have to be painful or difficult, but rather fun. It takes effort, yes, but doesn't have to be hard. I'm not trying to restrict anyone. I really don't like restriction. I literally want flow. I think that once your body is flowing, your period will follow. That's usually what happens. And I want to make sure that the work we do together is the work that really changes everything for you. So if you're curious and maybe have a few questions but don't want to miss out on the chance to be in the program, just shoot me a quick email. Again, I'll be answering emails after the webinar. support@thehealthyelements.com is where you would send an email to. I'll hold a space for you until I've answered any of your questions. This special price goes away, though. It's only available to you until Thursday, April 25th. I'll include all of these details as well in our follow-up email, as will Tara. She will include her details. So, Tara, back to you.
Well, it's a great offer, and I just have to add my own little testimonial for Nicole's program. And if you like what you learned today, what she teaches in her program, you've just heard the tip of the iceberg. She gives you so many great nuggets of information that you can take and implement, and it's amazing that those little nuggets that you might take and implement into your life, how much of a difference they make. So that's just my little spin on my experience with Nicole's program. It really is a great program.
Why, thank you. I feel so special. Thank you so much. So I know we've covered a lot today and we're a little bit over in time, so we're sorry about that part. We can't help ourselves. But we really hope that you'll put this information to good use. So to help prevent this info from going in one ear and out the other, we challenge you to take action today. So whether that's implementing some of the actions or practical tips we've shared, or taking advantage of one of our offers, we designed them to help women on both ends of the spectrum. I know there are 2 options here. You can choose both if you'd like. Which option is right for you, or maybe you like them both. Option 1 is the more do-it-yourself approach, and it'll give you the steps to take in the Better Your Period Action Guide, plus products to get you started. And then option 2 is more hands-on. I'm going to share much more as I dive into new topics each week, providing you a better understanding of what you've learned today. Each option has the URL link below. To make it easy, we'll go ahead and put each URL in the chat box for you to copy and paste if you'd like to do that. So you'll see both of them. Tara will put those in there in a moment. And then so you basically be able to I think you'll be able to click them, right? They turn them into links in the chat box,
Yeah.
Tara? Okay, they
Yeah,
do.
but
Okay,
for
good.
some reason, Nicole, I'm having an issue with seeing that chat box right now. Would you mind go ahead
Oh,
and
really?
putting that in there?
You
Yeah.
are? Okay. Yeah, no problem. I will go ahead and do that. Also, I just wanted to say we're going to open up for questions that you may have. I know that some of you have typed some questions in there, and we will do our best to answer as many as possible. But if we aren't able to answer you on the webinar, just contact us. You can email Tara if you have questions for her at info@bepreparedperiod.com. And then me, if you have any questions for me, support@thehealthyelements.com. Again, we're happy to answer any questions that you have that we may not get to today. And then, of course, type your questions into the chat box.
And while we're waiting for some questions more questions to pop in, we'd like to take a minute to announce today's winner as promised. Congratulations, Tina R. You have won our Earth Day giveaway.
Cool.
You'll receive 4 Maxim Hygiene products, products of your choice to try out. We'll go ahead and contact you directly with the details. We've got your information already in here, but for privacy, we're not going to say your whole name. So Tina R., congratulations.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Tina. You will love these products. Maxim's products are amazing. I have just been introduced to them relatively recently, and they are so awesome. Tara, I wanted to mention to you that I'm not seeing any of the questions in the chat box for some reason. I think they might have been all directed to you, which I'm not sure why that would have happened. I know, very strange. Can you see the chat box?
I am the chat box is missing from my screen, and I can try to minimize so I can see, but I'm afraid that it's gonna affect everybody's view of. Okay, here we go.
Let's see. Well, that's
Okay,
okay.
we're back.
We're back. We're getting there slowly. Technical difficulties are like the story of our lives.
Okay,
Do you see
just
it,
a
Tara?
second.
Do you see your chat box?
I do. I have it back.
Okay, great. So I feel like there are a number of questions in there because I can see question marks next to people's names that may have
Okay,
asked questions.
so
So
I can read the questions. The one question from Rebecca is, I just moved into a new place and I'm looking for a new, not only comfy, but also healthy mattress. Is there one you recommend without all the chemicals mentioned?
yes. So I would actually recommend going to IKEA. They make a lot of all natural mattresses, believe it or not, and they're decent prices as well. There are a number of other brands. I'm trying to think of a couple of them, and I can't really think of any of the names. I have an IKEA mattress because I would have loved to have one of the other fancy brands, but they're a little expensive. But IKEA, I would recommend them. I mean, they make all natural mattresses, and again, they come from a country in the EU, so they are not allowed to use a lot of the chemicals that are used in mattresses in the US. So I would check them out.
That was a great question.
Yeah, really
Um,
good question.
One question, and I'm assuming it was to me from Jamina. I hope I'm saying your name right. It says, "Do you ship internationally?" We don't have. We have the capabilities on our website for US and Canada, but if you want to just shoot me an email, we do orders outside of the US and Canada, but we just don't have it set up on the site. So I'd be happy to help you if you want to just email me or contact me through the website.
That's awesome.
And I do, and I'm in Mexico. So Mexico, oh, there you are. That's you too. Yes, we can ship to Mexico. So then I'm just reading through some of the symptoms that people put in the chat box were migraines.
Oh yeah,
Um,
migraines
Jackie
definitely.
says no period for 3 months and cold feet.
That definitely could be a thyroid issue. Jackie, you should definitely send me an email and we should have a conversation because there are a lot of different things that could be happening for you, and maybe we can talk more about what might be going on and figure out answers to your questions.
Cheryl says, I think she suffers from PCOS.
Hmm. PCOS again. There are a couple links with there are links with estrogen dominance and a couple of other things. PCOS is a tough one just because there are a lot of contributing factors, and of course it presents in different ways for different women. So if you want, send me an email, and we can maybe have a conversation about what's going on with you and how to address it, because PCOS is very much diet related, and there's a chemical aspect to it as well, but it's very much related to your diet, and it's reversible. There's no doubt about it. I met many women who have reversed it, so it's possible to reverse PCOS.
And we have another one saying, I've been suffering with PCOS. Most PCOSers don't have a period, and I have a period that does not stop. I've taken everything, not sure what to do.
Okay, that's another one. Again, that's a very in-depth question, and I would love to be able to help, and I would love for you to send me an email. I feel like PCOS is one of these conditions that most mainstream doctors aren't treating in the right way. If we address the food that we're eating and the chemicals that we're exposed to, and the stress that we're exposed to, all those three things play a really big role in PCOS and most menstrual problems, most hormonal imbalances. So again, if you send me an email, I would love that, and we can start a conversation about it.
Oh, and Jackie, I think she's asking you, Nicole, what's your
Mm-hmm.
email?
It's support at thehealthyelements.com. Thehealthyelements.com. You'll see the URL down at the bottom there. So just support at that URL. And yeah, send me an email, and I'm available to answer questions today.
And I think maybe because we already kept everyone so far over time, let's take one more question, and
Okay.
that is Anna says, what about soy products and xenoestrogens?
Yeah, soy's
I'm
a
not
tough
sh
one. Yeah, I mean, I'll just say it really quickly. For most of my clients, if they're dealing with excess estrogen, I highly recommend that they don't consume any soy. If they do, it should be really small amounts of only fermented soy. So processed soy products are an absolute no-no. Things like soy milk and I don't know, all these kinds of things, soy cheese, all that stuff. Like those are highly processed foods, and I just don't believe that they serve a really good purpose. And, again, there's mixed studies and information on uh, soy and phytoestrogens and their estrogenic effect on a woman's body. Again, I feel like the science is kind of in, and we probably shouldn't take the chance if we are struggling with estrogen dominance or any kinds of issues caused by estrogen dominance. Maybe staying away from soy is the best thing to do. There's so many other great things. If you want soy milk, I mean, there's almond milk or hemp milk, any kind of there are different milk options if that's something that you like. But again, I think that there are definitely, it's a good thing to remove soy from your diet if you are dealing with any of these conditions.
Great. So I see there's, I think, a couple more questions still coming through. But
Okay.
again, if you guys want to email us directly, if you have questions for Nicole, she's
Yeah.
at support at thehealthyelements.com, or questions for Be Prepared and Tara, myself, you can email me at info@bepreparedperiod.com, and we'd be happy to answer any other questions that you guys have. But we just wanted to thank everyone for being such great participants in today's webinar. It's always so much more fun when we can interact and hear your questions and replies in the chat box.
Yeah,
So if
Tara,
you've in,
by the
oh,
way,
go
really
ahead.
quickly, can you, I can't, I wasn't able to like exit my screen and access and type in the two URLs for everyone.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can
everybody,
you do
hold on
that?
just 1 second,
Yeah,
and
I
I
know.
will
Sorry,
I will
everybody.
add
We're getting
that.
there. This is still relatively new for all of us.
So I'll go ahead and add that in the chat box.
Okay, great.
So
And then, of
that will be
course,
there in
yeah,
just a
those will be
minute.
in the follow-up email to all of you as well, just so you know.
So if you guys enjoyed today's webinar, we hope you will tell your friends and break the silence on this taboo topic that so many are still afraid to talk about. And we'll get those links posted in the chat box for you to click on easily. And again, any questions, feel free to contact us. And we hope to hear from you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.